Right, I'd like to welcome Minnesota Duluth to our post-match conference. A couple notes on the Bulldogs. The number 5 seed. This is their 14th year in the NCAA tournament. And now a record of 16-14 in the size or in the NCAA tournament play. The Bulldogs finished the season at 23-6. With us is head coach Jim Booz. On your side is Katie Kuffel. On the far is Kate Lang. We'll have some comments from Coach, some opening statements, and then we'll open the floor up for our student athletes. Coach, some opening remarks.
Well, first of all, we certainly want to congratulate Nebraska-Kearney on a great match and wish them the best of luck tomorrow night against Southwest or the School Mines. They certainly elevated their level of play after the second game. I think we came out and played some really good volleyball in game 2 and really controlled what was going on in the match there for a little bit. And kind of like a boxing match, they took our best punches, stood back up, and then punched back. And we just didn't seem to be able to keep our offensive punch going. You can see, I think the stats tell the story. We had 17 kills the first 2 games, and then we dropped down to 8 and 12. And that's certainly the type of team we are, in that offensively, when things are going good, we tend to play a lot better. And we tend to dictate a lot more of how the match is played. If it turns into us having to try to defend the other side constantly, we tend to struggle a little bit more, and I think tonight that's what happened. Kearney just ramped up their offense and did a great job of making some adjustments. I certainly would highlight the job the libero did in the last couple of games there, just finding ways to dig balls and really slow down our attack and making us have to take extra swings every time. So obviously disappointed in the result, not disappointed in the team or the girls. I thought they fought hard. They made some things happen. They did some really good things tonight that we had talked about going in. We just didn't necessarily play our best in the last couple of games when we needed to.
All right, to open up the room to questions to coach or the players, just state your affiliation and name, and then just speak into the mic, ladies, with your question asked.
Joe Brown with the Marshall Independent. Coach, you talked about some of the stuff they adjusted on defense after that second set. What are some of the specifics you kind of saw out of them that they were really able to shore up some of that back row play and make it tougher for your hitters to be able to start generating some points?
Well, one thing, I think they served us pretty tough. They attacked us in very specific spots and at specific people, and we weren't in system as much as we were earlier, which makes the offense a lot more predictable. And then the libero, early in games 1 and 2 was kind of committing to the deep corner against our outside attack, and she started roaming and reading it a little bit more and really started to pick up a lot more balls and made it a lot harder for us to get kills out of the outside attack. And so that made it more difficult. I think they did a good job of sliding out their block against April on our fast slide and slowed her down quite a bit. So there are just some minor adjustments, and unfortunately we didn't do as good a job adjusting back. And that can be the difference in a match.
Tim Grishevsky, SMSU Athletic Communications. NCAA tournament is obviously a situation you guys are familiar with. You didn't get the outcome that you're hoping for today, but can you kind of talk about having played in these type of situations, how you were able to use that experience this evening?
Well, definitely being a fifth-year senior, I mean, we made it to the Final Four in 2006, which was my redshirt freshman year, and it's definitely, we've made it to the NCAA tournament every year, and it's always something different. And the first couple years it was great because we always made it to the regional final, and this year was so different in that on any given night any team can win, and that's what's great about this region, and also what a lot of teams are maybe struggling with or using to their advantage. Kearney obviously came out, adjusted quickly to what we did. We didn't adjust as fast or as consistently, and it's one of those things that our experience may have had something to do with that, but it's, we have a lot of newer young players sometimes, and it's one of those things that as you use it to your advantage, at the same time this year was a little bit different because there was no definite team that you can see come standing out above everybody else. Everyone is out there and giving it their all on the court, and it's just going to come down to a couple minor points.
Kate's just a freshman. She doesn't know any better yet. You know, the experience they have is certainly helpful, but volleyball is different every time you step on the floor. Every point's very different, and so that experience helps you in this environment. But every team that's in the tournament this year was in it last year, and so we're not any better off than anybody else. And like Katie said, I would argue that you're not going to find a tougher regional, and every one of these teams is capable of getting out of this region if they play at their highest level for an entire night 3 times in a row. And so, you know, tonight we didn't get that done. Congrats to Kearney. You wish them the best, and we certainly hope whoever comes out of this region can represent us well at the Elite Eight.
For the players, just kind of talk a little bit about what Kearney was able to do with some of their ability with their block. They didn't really end up with a whole lot of team blocks. They finished with like 6.5, but their wall definitely put up a lot of resistance and made you guys redirect a lot of shots and not really get anything kind of going offensively.
It was definitely something, not knowing. I mean, we had some scouting about them, but it was kind of one of those things, go out and play and do what we do. And I mean, we've known all year long that offense is one of our strongest points, and once they started getting a couple blocks or even the touches that come back on your side, you know, it's hard to get those back up, let alone in system, and they just found a way to keep the ball going. And if we watched the 2 prior matches, and every team that's won just finds a way to keep that ball up, just keep it going, keep it in play. And then at the end there, I mean, as a offensive player pretty much only, it was hard finding those open shots. You missed the block, but then you hit it straight to a fender. It was hard to just find the court with a clean hit. So I think that's what we struggled with tonight. And Kearney did an unbelievable job getting all those up and taking what we do well and taking that away from us. That was their advantage tonight.
And even though they didn't have that many blocks, they did have a lot of touches, like coming out hitting, and then even if they didn't touch it, there was a defender sitting right there, which I think we struggled with a little bit there at the end. They rotated to where we were trying to hit, and we weren't recovering.
Just to piggyback on that, and I talked to our team about it a little bit, I think that's probably one of the biggest turning points of the night, is their ability to take our outside attack, dig it, transition back, set the ball to their outside, and our deflections just weren't as positive. You know, ours would somehow sneak through the hands and end up being kills. And if you're winning that battle consistently, you're going to have a hard time not winning a match, because that's a teeter-totter that's very momentum-based. And so I think that really was the difference in games 3 and 4, is their outsides really rose. We're swinging at a high point and finding ways to get balls off and through our block in a negative way for us. Conversely, our deflections that they ended up creating worked out for them. And so if you lose on both ends, you're going to have a hard time winning.
Any other questions?
I'll say just one final thought. You know, we also want to thank Southwest Minnesota State for the job they did as hosts. Tremendous job. It's been a great experience, and we appreciate their hospitality.
Thank you much. Thanks.